All right, welcome back to the YouTube videocast, podcast, whatever you want to call it, with Macklin Bike Shop. I'm Steve, and we kind of have like a fun one here, and we have, this is my Townie, believe it or not. If you're in out of the shop, you know I like to ride gravel bikes and mountain bikes, and road too is convenient. But the bike that I ride the most is probably this bike. Gravel RLT. It's this time of the year, it's kind of configured with, you know, packs and whatnot, so I can carry extra gloves and gear and that type of thing because it's cold. But come summer, some of that stuff will get stripped off. Love mountain biking, and this bike has kind of a funny story, so I thought I would share it. It's came up, I don't know, multiple times in the last few weeks. I've had the bike in the shop because I was going to do something with it. But it's kind of funny how I ended up with, and people have asked about it. They're like, what's the deal with this bike? I ended up with this bike because we had, I don't know, they were pretty popular about 4 or 5 years ago. And this particular bike sat in the back of our shop, non-sellable for a while because it showed up with a damaged fork. So we had to get a warranty fork, and it sat there for a while waiting for a fork. It came in with the wrong color fork, which I actually thought looked pretty cool. The flat black with the silver. And then when we had a couple of these, we had a matte black one or whatever, and it went back out on the floor. And then shortly after that, this is during like COVID supply chain, and I needed a part to fix a customer's bike. And I had to rob a part off of this bike. So it went, again, to the back of the shop, not sellable, out of inventory. And last summer when we were kind of dwindling down and winding down, working with Trek, because Trek owned Electra, this was one of the last few bikes in the shop. And I was like, I'm just going to buy that bike. So I turned it into my garden bike, and I've got a basket for the front. I've got bags, and I actually will like ride out to my garden in my backyard and collect my vegetables with it. I'll have to dig out some pictures, but it's kind of fun. But this bike is obviously not stock, and one day I got, one of the tires was flat, and I had this old wheel from another bike that I might share at some point from the 90s, an old Proflex, and it's got an XT hub and a Mavic wheel rim. I actually built those wheels up years ago. And if you remember back that time, these Michelin Wild grippers were kind of cool. So anyways, I just like threw the wheel on, and I was like, that looks pretty cool. And so then the Townie started to become modified. So it's had different handlebars. In fact, I just put those on. I got to adjust them so I can fit the basket back on. But I think what we're going to do with this bike is going to become kind of like a little project bike. So I will probably share another episode about it. I have some fun things I think I'm going to end up doing with this bike. The Wild grippers are definitely probably going to stay, although I have some old Panaracer Fire XC Pros with the red that would probably look pretty cool too. But it's probably going to get some old 9-speed XTR stuff put on it. If you remember those in the late 90s, Avid had these magnesium brakes. I've got a set of those. They're on my Proflex. I think they're going to come off the Proflex and go on the Townie. And I don't just ride it to the garden. I do, you know, on a Sunday, cruise around the neighborhood in it because it's just kind of fun. But yeah, it's now got a race face seat post on it. The seat's been changed. Got a rear rack because, you know, that's where some of the bags go to haul vegetables. Anyway, it's going to probably get a different crank on it as well. I have an old, probably 20 years old FSA carbon crank that's been sitting in a box that came off an old bike. One of the chain rings is totally worn out on it, and I'll probably turn it into a 1x crank or 2x or something like that. Switch it up. So, but anyway, this has been parked in the shop, and somebody actually took a picture of it the other day, and people have asked what the deal with the tires were, and or other people actually recognize the tires if they've been around bikes a long time, and they thought it was funny that it was my bike. So I thought I'd share. Anyway, that's all I got on it now. I think we're going to turn this into maybe like a little project. I might update, and I think might do, people ask us a lot what we ride, and we're probably going to do some little short episodes on what we ride, how our bikes are set up, why they're set up that way, things we change about them, that type of thing. So like my mountain bike, a lot of times I'll have one chainring on the front, but then when we go do the Czech 40, I put a bigger chainring on it. But we'll talk about some things like that, and I just thought it would be fun to start with the Townie, because that's kind of the most unsuspecting bike that I probably ride. Anyway, that's all I got. Any questions, comments, whatever, leave them down in the comments, and we'll get to them on the next show. Thanks.